The pain of loss still echoed in his heart when Dooku decided to distance himself from the Jedi Order. The death of Qui-Gon Jinn on Naboo had been the final blow to his already shaken faith in the Council. The criticisms he kept guarded about the Order's rigidity and its growing political dependence on the Senate now seemed justified. How had the Council allowed his former Padawan to be sent alone to face a Sith Lord? In Sereno, he sought answers in the shadows of his aristocratic past. The ancestral mansion offered silence, but not peace. While meditating in his private gardens, an unmistakable presence crossed through the Force like a ray of light piercing through darkness. Dooku felt the familiar energy approaching, as distinct as Qui-Gon's signature had always been. His heart raced, but his rational mind rejected the impossible. Jedi did not return after death. Their bodies became one with the Force. Still, that sensation was undeniable, growing ever more intense. He rose slowly, his hand instinctively reaching for the lightsaber at his belt. Qui-Gon! The word escaped his lips like a prayer, laden with hope and disbelief. The wind stopped blowing, the leaves ceased their movement, and a deep silence took hold of the garden. "I am here, Master." The voice came from behind him, soft but clear as crystal. Dooku turned quickly, and there, enveloped in an ethereal blue luminescence, stood Qui-Gon Jinn. His appearance was exactly as he remembered, even the gentle smile that had always characterized his former apprentice. The spiritual form seemed solid enough to touch, but translucent enough to reveal its supernatural nature. Dooku felt his legs weaken and had to lean on a nearby column. How is this possible? You are dead." His voice trembled with contained emotion. Qui-Gon took a step forward, his ghostly form moving with the same elegance as when he was alive. "The living Force, Master. I studied its mysteries for years, and before my death. It is possible to preserve identity, to remain as a guide for the living. It is not immortality, but a different continuation of existence." He smiled with that peculiar gleam in his eyes. "I was always fascinated by the more mystical aspects of the Force, you remember. Now, I finally understand truths that the Jedi Code only whispers." "Why did you come to me?" Dooku asked, his voice recovering its usual firmness. "If you transcended death, surely there are greater purposes for your existence than visiting a disillusioned Jedi in self-exile." He crossed his arms, his defensive posture revealing the internal conflict he felt. Qui-Gon drew closer, and Dooku could see genuine concern emanating from the spiritual presence of his former Padawan. "Do not abandon the Order, Master. I know of your criticisms, and many are valid. But darkness is growing, and the Jedi will need your strength and wisdom in the times to come. And there is another reason for my visit," Qui-Gon continued, his expression becoming more serious. "Obi-Wan Kenobi, my Padawan, has just become a Jedi Knight. He is young, talented, but inexperienced, and he has under his responsibility the training of Anakin Skywalker, the boy I brought from Tatooine. I need you to help Obi-Wan in training the boy. Anakin is special, Master. He may be the chosen one of the prophecies." Dooku raised an eyebrow, his natural skepticism surfacing. "The chosen one? Qui-Gon, you were always idealistic, but this... a slave child from Tatooine? How can you be certain?" Qui-Gon smiled sadly. "His midi-chlorian count is higher than Master Yoda's. He was conceived by the Force itself without a father, and I felt his power, Master. If trained properly, he can bring balance." Dooku's return to the Jedi Temple on Coruscant was received with surprise and relief. His first visit was to Master Yoda's quarters. Dooku knelt respectfully before his former master. "Master Yoda, I must confess something that will seem impossible. Qui-Gon came to me on Sereno, not as a memory or hallucination, but as a Force ghost. He convinced me to return." Yoda closed his eyes for a long moment, his ears trembling slightly. "Feel your return through the Force, I can. Glad I am that chosen to return you have. Much the Order needs you. Always knew that following non-traditional paths, Qui-Gon was," Yoda continued, leaning on his staff, "discovered something extraordinary he seems to have. A rare gift this is to communicate after death. From the ancient Jedi this knowledge comes. Lost for millennia it was. Dooku nodded, still processing the experience. He asked me to help in training young Skywalker. Obi-Wan Kenobi is capable, but inexperienced to guide someone who may be the chosen one. Yoda tapped his staff on the floor. Wise this is. Mentor to Obi-Wan you will be. Your place on the council restored it must be. Agree the council will. The council meeting was convened quickly. Dooku entered the circular chamber with its 12 seats, feeling the weight of all eyes upon him. Master Windu was direct. Dooku, your departure caused concern. What changed? Dooku maintained his elegant posture and responded calmly. I received guidance through the Force. I understood that my place is here, especially now when darkness grows in the shadows. Plo Koon leaned forward. We heard about your willingness to assist in training young Skywalker. Your experience would be valuable. Mundi added, the boy is powerful, but impetuous. Obi-Wan needs guidance. The council voted unanimously for Dooku's return to his seat. In the following days, he established contact with Obi-Wan Kenobi, who received him with a mixture of reverence and gratitude. Master Dooku, it is an honor to have you back. Qui-Gon spoke much about your teachings. I miss him every day. Obi-Wan lowered his eyes momentarily. Dooku placed a comforting hand on the young knight's shoulder. He was like a son to me, Obi-Wan. Through you and Anakin, his light will continue to shine. Show me what you have been working on. They walked together to the training halls. Anakin Skywalker was only 10 years old when Dooku met him, but there was something undeniable about the boy's presence. His blue eyes shone with intelligence and curiosity, but Dooku also perceived deeper layers. Fear, anger, attachment. Master Dooku, Anakin greeted with an awkward bow. Obi-Wan said you were Master Qui-Gon's master. Dooku smiled slightly, and he was the best student I could have wished for. I heard impressive things about you, young Skywalker. Your connection with the Force is remarkable. But power without discipline is dangerous. Training began with rigor. Dooku observed each session between Obi-Wan and Anakin, offering corrections and insights. Over the years, he assumed direct responsibility for Anakin's combat training. Your form is too aggressive, Anakin. Form V serves your style well, but you lose control easily. A true duelist maintains a clear mind even in the heat of battle. He demonstrated precise and economical movements. Anakin tried to replicate them. It's difficult, Master Dooku. When I fight, I feel the Force flowing through me with such intensity. Dooku stopped and looked deeply into the young man's eyes. And there lies the danger. Intensity without control leads to the dark side. The years transformed Anakin Skywalker into a truly impressive young man, both physically and spiritually. He was tall, strong, and his skill with the lightsaber easily rivaled the best duelists of the Order. The Clone Wars erupted in the galaxy like an uncontrollable fire, consuming entire systems in bloody conflict. Anakin quickly became known throughout the Republic as the hero without fear, leading bold campaigns and executing impossible maneuvers. But it was the arrival of Ahsoka Tano as his Padawan that brought new light and purpose to his life. The young woman was extraordinarily brave and frequently impetuous, reminding Dooku intensely of Anakin himself in his turbulent early years. Dooku observed the trio with growing paternal interest. Anakin, Obi-Wan, and now Ahsoka formed a cohesive and remarkably effective unit. He remained as a silent but constant mentor, his presence an anchor of wisdom and stability in increasingly turbulent and chaotic times. The crisis arrived like a devastating storm when Ahsoka was unjustly accused of bombing the Jedi Temple, a terrorist attack that killed several Jedi and civilian workers. Dooku watched with growing and barely contained fury as the council coldly deliberated over the girl's fate. She was handcuffed with restraints that suppressed the Force, her Togruta facial markings appearing paler under extreme emotional stress. Her eyes, normally bright with determination, now reflected fear. This is completely absurd, Dooku declared, his aristocratic voice echoing through the council chamber with undeniable authority. You know Ahsoka Tano intimately. She is unconditionally loyal, deeply dedicated to Jedi ideals, absolutely incapable of such horrendous betrayal against everything she loves. Master Windu responded with characteristic coldness. The evidence against her is substantial and apparently conclusive. Dooku, we cannot allow personal feelings to compromise justice. Admiral Tarkin, the military officer present representing Senate interests, added with poorly disguised disdain, justice must be completely impartial, without favoritism based on personal relationships. Dooku rose dramatically from his seat on the council, his presence dominating the chamber. Impartial absolutely does not mean blind or hasty. Ahsoka Tano deserves complete and meticulous investigation, not premature condemnation based on circumstantial evidence that could easily have been fabricated. I will not allow a formal accusation to be presented without definitive and irrefutable proof of her guilt. My position on this council still means something, and I will use all my influence to protect this innocent girl. The silence that followed was heavy. Finally, Yoda spoke with his ancient but still powerful voice. With Master Dooku, I agree. Hasty we must not be with accusations so grave. Investigate more deeply we must. Terrible consequences, condemning an innocent, this would have. Dooku's influence on the council, carefully built and nurtured over the years, weighed decisively in the final deliberation. Ahsoka was temporarily suspended from active duties, but crucially was not formally accused or expelled from the order. When the true culprit, Barriss Offee, was finally exposed through diligent investigation, Ahsoka was completely exonerated. Ahsoka sought out Dooku immediately, still visibly shaken by the ordeal. Master Dooku, I honestly don't have adequate words. You fought fiercely for me when even the council doubted, when my own master was prevented from defending me adequately. Why did you do this? You don't even know me that well. Tears of gratitude and relief flowed freely down her face. Dooku gently placed both hands on her shoulders, looking directly into her eyes. You are manifestly innocent, Ahsoka. Anyone with basic discernment could see that clearly. Never allow yourself to doubt your inherent worth or your integrity, nor allow others to do so with impunity, no matter how powerful or important they may be. You have as much right to be here as any master on the council. Anakin sought out Dooku privately soon after, his gratitude overflowing. He embraced the older master with a strength uncharacteristic of a Jedi. Thank you, Master Dooku. Seriously, thank you from the bottom of my heart. If it weren't for you, for your courage in challenging the council, I would have lost Ahsoka. She is like a sister to me, means more than I can express. His voice failed, raw emotion making it difficult to speak. Dooku felt the deep gratitude emanating from both through the Force, a bond permanently strengthened by shared adversity. Protecting the innocent is our fundamental duty, Anakin. Never forget that, even when circumstances make it difficult or politically inconvenient. Weeks after the incident, Ahsoka sought out Dooku in his private quarters in the temple, clearly nervous. She seemed restless, her hands kept moving, repeatedly adjusting her clothing. Master Dooku, I urgently need to tell you something. It's about Anakin. Something I discovered accidentally. She hesitated significantly, clearly struggling with the decision to reveal a secret. He is married to Senator Padme Amidala of Naboo. I discovered it completely by accident when I saw them together during our last mission. I didn't know what to do with this information. Dooku showed no visible surprise, his expression remaining perfectly serene. How long exactly have you known this? Ahsoka blinked repeatedly, genuinely surprised. You already knew? How is that possible? Dooku smiled slightly, almost amused. I am old and experienced, Ahsoka, not blind or naive. The way he talks about her, how he reacts instantly when she is in any kind of danger. The signs have always been obvious to those who know how to observe. But thank you very much for trusting me with this sensitive information. This demonstrates your growing maturity. Dooku confronted Anakin directly soon after, seeing no reason to delay. Anakin, we need to have an honest and frank conversation about Senator Amidala. Anakin visibly and immediately paled, all blood draining from his face. "Master, I can explain everything. Please let me explain." His voice was desperate, laden with panic. Dooku calmly raised a hand. "You don't need to lie to me or fabricate elaborate explanations. Anakin, I know perfectly well about the secret marriage. I always have, from the beginning." Anakin looked about to collapse completely. "The Council absolutely cannot know this. They would expel me instantly from the Order. And I love Padme with all my being, Master. I cannot conceive living without her. She is my anchor, my reason." His voice was laden with existential despair. Dooku indicated for Anakin to sit, assuming a more relaxed and less intimidating posture. "The code explicitly prohibits attachment, but there is a fundamental philosophical difference between genuine love and destructive possessiveness. Qui-Gon always deeply questioned this specific rule, considered it unnatural and potentially harmful. And I also question its wisdom, especially in cases like yours." Anakin looked completely incredulous, as if Dooku had spoken in an alien language. "You're not going to report me to the Council?" Dooku shook his head definitively. "I will say absolutely nothing to the Council about this. But you need to understand deeply that the true danger is not in loving someone, but in obsessively fearing losing that person. This corrosive fear can literally corrode your soul, Anakin. It can lead you to extremely dark paths in the desperate attempt to prevent loss. You must love without possessiveness, without paralyzing fear." Anakin nodded slowly, processing these words. "I've been having recurring nightmares, Master. Vivid nightmares about Padme dying during childbirth. They are so intensely real, so detailed that I wake up in cold sweat every night. I see every moment, hear her screams." Dooku felt a deep chill run down his spine, a significant disturbance in the Force. "Visions of the future are always fundamentally uncertain, Anakin. They are constantly shaped by our present choices and future actions. The future is not fixed or predetermined. If you do not fail yourself, if you rigorously maintain your moral integrity and continue your training diligently, everyone around you will have the best possible protection anyone can offer. You are extraordinarily powerful in the Force, but true lasting power comes from absolute self-control, not raw abilities. Always remember that, especially in the darkest moments." The conversations between Anakin and Chancellor Palpatine had become worryingly frequent in recent months. Anakin, with disconcerting innocence, regularly shared substantial details of these private meetings with Dooku during their routine training sessions. "The Chancellor is absolutely fascinating, Master Dooku. He possesses truly encyclopedic knowledge about so many subjects. He tells me incredible stories about aspects of the Force that not even the oldest Jedi Masters seem to know or discuss. Yesterday he mentioned that there are lost ways to completely prevent death, to preserve life indefinitely." Dooku felt intense alarm echo through all his consciousness. Every instinct developed over decades screamed danger. "What specific kind of stories, exactly? I need you to be more detailed." Anakin, without perceiving anything suspicious, described conversations about ancient Sith powers, abilities supposedly lost for millennia, forbidden techniques. Each successive account exponentially increased Dooku's suspicion and concern. There was something deeply, fundamentally wrong with the Chancellor's growing influence over Anakin. He immediately began to investigate discreetly, using all resources at his disposal. The devastating truth arrived like a shattering lightning bolt. Anakin appeared in Dooku's private quarters, his face completely pale and eyes wide with shock. He was visibly trembling. "Master Dooku, I just discovered something absolutely terrible. Something that will shake the foundations of the Republic. Chancellor Palpatine. He is a Sith Lord, a master of the dark side, perfectly disguised among us all this time." He struggled to control his breathing. "He finally revealed himself to me. He told me openly about the dark side, offered to teach me forbidden techniques to save Padme from the death I see in my nightmares. He said the Jedi lie systematically, that they hide fundamental truths about the Force." Anakin was clearly in a state of deep shock. Dooku felt the crushing weight of decades of meticulous manipulation finally revealing itself. Where exactly is he right now at this moment? Anakin responded quickly. In his office. He awaits my answer, my decision. Master, what do we do? How do we deal with this? Dooku placed both hands firmly on Anakin's shoulders, physically anchoring the young man. You made absolutely the right choice coming directly to me instead of acting rashly. This demonstrates how much you have grown. Listen with extreme attention, Anakin. This is crucial. Go immediately to the council chamber and wait there without leaving. Do not leave under any circumstance, no matter absolutely what happens or what you feel through the Force. This is a direct order. I will quickly gather the most powerful masters available, and we will deal with this threat together. Anakin protested vehemently. But Master, I can help. I am strong enough to fight at your side. I trained for this. Dooku was absolutely firm, his voice assuming an undeniable tone of command. No, definitely not. Palpatine is a masterful manipulator with decades of experience. He will use precisely your emotions against you, exploit every vulnerability he knows intimately. He knows exactly about Padme, your fears, your nightmares. Trust me completely, trust all your training. Now go immediately. Anakin obeyed reluctantly, recognizing the wisdom in his mentor's words. Dooku quickly gathered the closest masters available in the temple. The three masters immediately accompanied Dooku to the Chancellor's office, prepared for what was to come. The confrontation was explosive and violent from the first second. Palpatine smiled broadly when he saw them enter, completely without surprise. Ah, esteemed Jedi Masters, you finally came to arrest me? 4 of the Order's best warriors. Should I feel honored? His tone was mocking, provocative. This constitutes treason against the democratically elected Republic, you realize? In the name of the Galactic Senate and the Republic you so completely betrayed. Palpatine laughed aloud, a cold sound devoid of humanity. Blue lightning of pure Sith energy exploded violently from his distorted hands. The duel that followed was brutal, bloody, and devastatingly quick. Tin fell first, his defense pierced by a red blade that Palpatine conjured from nowhere. Agen Kolar was hurled with inhuman force against the wall, his neck breaking with a sickening sound. The dark force emanated from Palpatine in practically suffocating waves, distorting reality around him. Now only Dooku remained fighting. Anakin could not wait in the chamber as ordered. The disturbance in the Force was absolutely unbearable, like 1,000 simultaneous screams echoing in his mind. Jedi deaths tore through the Force like knives. He ran desperately through the corridors of the Senate building to Palpatine's office, his heart pounding violently against his ribs. When he finally arrived, he was confronted with a scene of complete devastation. Bodies of Jedi Masters grotesquely scattered across the floor, Dooku kneeling, his elegant clothing torn and covered in blood, severe lightning burns covering his body extensively. Palpatine, transformed into something monstrous, held his bright red saber directly against Dooku's exposed throat. Anakin, join me now and we will save Padme together. I will prevent her death. He extended a blood-stained hand seductively. Dooku looked directly at Anakin through swollen eyes, blood flowing freely from his mouth. Anakin, do not believe a single word of his. You are much stronger than he will ever be. Remember everything I taught you. Palpatine moved his saber quickly, and the crimson blade pierced completely through Dooku's chest. The great master's life extinguished instantly. Anakin screamed with primitive anguish, feeling his mentor's presence disappear brutally from the Force. No, Master! Fury and indescribable pain exploded through him in an emotional tsunami. But it was not the dark and corrupting fury that Palpatine expected to manipulate. It was the perfectly righteous fury of someone who had just lost a father figure, combined with unwavering determination. Anakin activated his blue saber with a reflexive movement. You are an absolute monster, and I will end you definitively here and now. Palpatine immediately attacked with devastating lightning, but Anakin deflected them with perfect technique, exactly as Dooku had taught him countless times. The subsequent duel was fierce and prolonged, the sabers dancing in mortal arcs of colored light, each movement precise and lethal. Anakin channeled absolutely everything that Dooku had meticulously taught him over the years. Emotional control, absolute technical precision, perfect balance between aggression and defense. Palpatine was immensely powerful and experienced, but Anakin was literally the chosen one, conceived by the Force itself. With a devastating final movement, he cut completely through Palpatine's weakened defense, and his bright blue blade pierced through the Sith Lord's neck. Palpatine's head separated, falling grotesquely. His body convulsed violently as Sith energy dissipated. Anakin deactivated his saber, trembling uncontrollably from adrenaline and emotion. In the days and weeks that followed, as the Republic processed the devastating revelation and began the healing process, Anakin was formally elevated to the rank of Jedi Master and deservedly received a permanent seat on the Council. Ahsoka completed her training with distinction and was knighted as a full Jedi. Padme survived childbirth without complications, giving birth to extraordinarily healthy twins, Luke and Leia, and the Jedi Order, forced to confront its own failures and limitations through this existential crisis, gradually began to accept that genuine love was not inevitably the path to darkness. Fear of loss was the true danger. Possessive attachment was the corruption. But selfless love could strengthen, not weaken. Dooku, wherever his essence now resided in the Force, would have been deeply proud of all these changes that his final sacrifice had helped catalyze. Years later, when peace finally returned to the galaxy and the Jedi could reflect on the events that almost destroyed everything, Anakin often meditated on how a single moment had irreversibly altered the fate of trillions. Qui-Gon's appearance as a Force ghost to Dooku that night on Sereno had not only saved a man from the dark side, but redirected the entire course of galactic history. Without that supernatural intervention, Dooku would have become Palpatine's apprentice, leading separatist armies in brutal war against the Republic. Anakin, without the wise guidance and rigorous training that Dooku provided, would have inevitably succumbed to fear, anger, and manipulation, becoming the dreaded Darth Vader. The Jedi Order would have been completely exterminated through Order 66, and the galaxy plunged into decades of dark imperial tyranny. But because Qui-Gon transcended death and chose to act, because he trusted his former master to guide the Chosen One, everything changed. The prophecy of balance was fulfilled not through destruction, but through redemption and growth. And as Anakin watched his children play in the gardens of the temple on Coruscant, he whispered his eternal gratitude to the ghost of a Jedi who, even in death, continued serving the light.